story that came out today on CBS News, September 24th, 2018. 18 more men cleared of convictions linked to corrupt Chicago cop. You know, this is why we don't trust cops. We have seen countless videos of them planting evidence on people, falsifying police reports, and doing all kinds of things out here because, crime is down. So they have to do all this extra stuff in order to keep their jobs relevant. So here we have one corrupt cop and we have 18 cleared of any convictions that he tried to get them on. So let's get into this story out of Chicago. A judge has cleared 18 more men of drug convictions that resulted from investigations by a corrupt Chicago police sergeant and his crew of tactical officers, reports CBS Chicago. The exonerations brought to 42. So 42 from this one corrupt officer. The total number of overturned convictions linked to then Sergeant Ronald-watts. Since 2016, the Chicago Tribune reported. The latest reversals all involve drug cases because, see, that's the easiest thing to get Black people on, especially marijuana. Brought between 2003 and 2008. Court record shows the defendants received sentences ranging from probation to 4 years in prison. So any that were locked up were released long ago. Cook County State Attorney Kimberly Fox, who requested the cases be tossed, apologized to the men who were cleared on Monday. How about compensating them financially? Screw your apology. Your apologies aren't worth dog do. She said she hopes dismissing their case, right wrongs of the past, and prove to the community that the justice system worked. No, it doesn't. See, if the justice system worked, you would not have corrupt cops all over this nation. The fact that you do tells me it doesn't work. And to this day, you are more inclined to believe a corrupt cop over an innocent person that they might have convicted or jailed. You're still more inclined to believe in that cop. So no, this does not prove that justice works. No, it doesn't. Because if it did, those guys would not have been in prison in the first place. But a corrupt cop's word still holds more water than a citizen telling you that they're innocent. That says it all right there. We could not stand behind the integrity of these cases because of the behavior of Mr. Watts, Fox said, according to the Chicago Tribune. When things have gone wrong, we have to actively work to fix them. All right? And the fact that he's a Black cop, that's irrelevant. We know in the Black community, Black cops can be just as corrupt or even more corrupt. So when I tell you about cops, I'm talking about all of them. It doesn't matter if they're Black cops, white cops, Hispanic cops, it doesn't matter. We have seen corruption in all of them. So this is why you should not be telling the Black community to trust cops when the history shows that we can't trust them. The Conviction Integrity Unit at Fox office is still working on dozens of cases tied to Watts, trying to determine if any other convictions were the result of frame-ups. The 18 cases dismissed Monday include one in which the defendant alleged that Watts had framed him for narcotic possession because his brother had failed to pay $5,000 in protection money. Many such allegations that Watt and his crew extorted drug dealers and residents swirled around them for years. So there were a lot of complaints from the people in the community about this cop and the other cops that worked right along with them. But of course, it goes on for years because they get ignored. Despite complaints to the police department and statements made during court hearings, Joshua Tepfer, who represented 12 of the men whose cases were dismissed Monday, said the fact that Watts was allowed to operate for so long, even though his corruption was an open secret. So it was known even among the cops that he was shady. Among police leadership illustrate a total failure of the system. Many clients told everyone about it, and no one believed him. So he had clients that told people about the corruption, but of course, no one believed, because in this society, people always want to believe the cop. That's how it is. And it's designed this way on purpose. They told police investigators, they told judges, defense attorneys, prosecutors, their complaints were dismissed and ignored. Dozens of men and women have said Watts and his team terrorized them in or near the former Ida B. Wells housing project in Bronzeville between 2003 and 2008. CBS Chicago reports Watts and his officers allegedly planted drugs on suspects and falsified police reports, which happens all over America every single day. Probably more dirty cops than good cops. That's the sad part. The crew of officers was just dirty, Tepfer said. According to the station, they were really dirty, and they were really dirty for a long time. And there are just made up cases. There's no victims. They made up cases. So they made up cases and there was never any victim. Just making stuff up and writing up police reports, just falsifying everything. The victims are these men. Watts and other officer were arrested in 2012 when they shook down a drug carrier who turned out to be an FBI informant. Well, there you go. They messed with the wrong one and they got busted. And so they tried to take down somebody and they were an FBI informant. Both pleaded guilty and were sentenced to federal prison. Boy, you know what happens to cops in jail? Now he's got to meet up with all those people that he falsely arrested in the same prison. Pure hell for him. Watts, who received a 22-month term, that's not long enough for what he did, was released in 2015. He should still be in jail. Later moved to Las Vegas. Record show. Okay. Men whose convictions were dismissed have filed at least 23 wrongful conviction federal lawsuits against Watts and the city. Those cases are pending, and the new dismissals Monday will likely lead to more lawsuits. Chicago troubled police force has been involved in a series of scandals in recent decades and misconduct, settlements, verdicts, and legal fees that have cost the city more than $700 million in the last 15 years or so. That's a lot of damn money to be putting out over your corrupt cops. That, you would think common sense would be, those are the reasons why you would want to get rid of corrupt cops, because those corrupt cops are costing the city too much money. Am I shocked? No. It's to be expected. This is America, and this is how America loves their policing to be done. Just as long as no one gets harmed in the process except for us. That's all they expect. But ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think about this case. This is just another reason why we don't trust them and have no reason to trust them. And it doesn't matter. So what, you show one good cop after we've seen hundreds of these corrupt cases or murders and everything else. One cop is not going to erase everything. Not even two good cops is going to erase it. And in my opinion, this went on for so long until they tried to arrest an FBI informant. So where were the good cops that knew this was going on and stayed silent? They said everybody knew Watts was corrupt and the cops that worked with him were corrupt. So if the cops knew and the residents knew and everybody knew, well, how come the good cops didn't step forward? Why didn't they say anything? See, this is why I don't want to hear nothing else about no good cops. Because when these corrupt cops are running amok, the good cops that you claim they are stay silent. And to me, their silence make them just as corrupt. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.